right, now we are back to TV live on the digital broadcasting TV network, going global, baby, www.thepowervoices.com on the global radio network as well. Good to have you along with me. Jesse T is back on the radio. The Brown Beauty is back on duty. Jesse Terrero broadcasting live on the air and everywhere from the community to the world and God's blue-green earth. It's the Jesse T Show at 5 o'clock right here on the Pacific Coast, and the weather is feeling kind of fall, kind of winter. We've got clouds in the sky. We've got some light rain drizzling all around Southern California in different parts. It's kind of feeling kind of cozy and woozy. Yeah, I think so. That's the nice thing about cozy and woozy, because you can get cozy and woozy with the significant other. You know something? I was born in Chicago, Illinois, and that's where I was born in 1960. And the thing about Illinois is that I was an August baby. My birthday is August 23rd. And so that means I'm a summer baby. So that means, you know, there was a whole lot of fun time going on in the wintertime. And I think in cold states like Chicago and Alaska and Boston or Massachusetts, Ohio, Wisconsin, Minnesota, I think in the wintertime, there's a whole lot of baby making going on. That's what I think. I've come to that determination because just about everybody I know that I've come in contact with, now not everybody who was born in Chicago, was born in the summertime or the fall. So that means there was a whole lot of whoopee-woo going on, huh? Well, we got some whoopee-woo going on right here on the Jesse T Show today, because the whoopee-woo that I am talking about for you today, broadcasting live from beautiful Southern California and the Pacific Ocean where paradise never stops. We are going to be talking about the homeless today. Oh, Lordy, Lord, Lord, Lord. The homeless, the ubiquitous, the shadowy, the not so shadowy anymore, the homeless that are everywhere in Southern California. Saying hi to Tracy Ellman. Thanks a lot, Tracy, was chiming in. Also, Mama T, Anthony Bratz chiming in, buddy. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. On Jesse Terrero. Yeah, I like that. Yep. Facebook.com/Jesse Terrero. Thanks a lot for checking in there on one of our Facebook sites. Another Facebook site is Facebook.com/The Power of Voices. And of course, we're out at YouTube Live. So don't forget us about that as I raise the Jesse T eyebrow. Yeah, I can do that, you know. When I was a young actor, I needed to have some facial expressions, right? So I used to stand in front of the mirror like when I was 18, 17 years old, right? And I said, you know, what can I do? What can I do with my face? You know, what interesting things could I do? So I started doing the eyebrow. And it took me a year to get that eyebrow to do that. A whole year to get that right eyebrow to go up. So I learned that whenever I needed to have a sinister look, I looked down and raised that right eyebrow and scowl a little bit. Then I look really sinister. Yeah. Okay. So, hey, The Rock didn't have the people's eyebrow before Jesse T. Yeah. He's just more popular than me. So, you know, he wins that race, but I was before with the eyebrow. I used to call it the T-brow. T-brow. See that? It's kind of a sinister looking look, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. So as I was talking, you can download us and check us out on YouTube Live, and that's on the Power of Voices channel. And we Instagram and Snapchat more and more after the show as well. And we're also on other social networking sites. Our guy back in the studio, Lee Baby Michaels, is always hooking us up in something new. UP can Bamboozle and Stream Up are some others that we are a part of, as well as others. But the most important thing is that you're here with me, and we're together again on the Jesse T Show live at 5 as you enter the world according to Terrero. Whoa! And you get straight on the point. Okay. So what are we talking about? We're talking about the homeless today. But before I do that, because that's a very interesting topic here, especially in Los Angeles. I know in your community, from sea to shining sea, from border to border, you're having and experiencing the same problems we are here because homeless is at epidemic levels. Before we get jumping into that, though, I wanted to chit chat just a little bit about something and let you know at the end of the hour, I'm going to give you some hope and some desire to build a little fire underneath you and have something that is better than gold and better than silver. Because as my friend Larry Elder from another radio station here in Los Angeles says, I just love his saying, so I have to give him props for it. When the fit hits the shan, Larry always used to say that, when the fit hits the shan, you got to be ready. And the number one thing you should have more than anything in the world is in this book right here. Yeah, I'm almost done with it. I'm reading like 10 or 12 books at a time here. But it's the Survival Blueprint, America 2020. That's just a few years away. And there's something here. You see that right there? That's a special marker. I marked it just for you guys tonight. Right there. That's it. Lee Cameron. Lee Cameron's on. Thanks a lot, Lee. Appreciate that for chiming in. Hey, let us know where you're chiming in from. What city, what state, what country. We are on the air and everywhere. We're all around the world as we go global, baby. Oh, you like the ladies' glasses? I could not find my glasses today, so I've been walking around with women's glasses on all day. What would it be like if I couldn't find a pair of pants to wear? I'd probably be walking around in a kilt or a woman's dress all day long. So thank goodness it's not pants and it's glasses, because if it was pants, I think I'd be airing the community out pretty good. But I got the glasses on because it's the only glasses I could find that I could see. Now, I wish I didn't have to wear glasses because, quite frankly, I never wore glasses up till about 10 years ago. And then lack of sight has come on pretty quick. So now I have to wear the glasses. And, oh yes, it's the ladies' glasses. So dignified, I feel. So elegant. I feel like maybe I should have a handbag or something. Maybe some rouge. You know, Dr. Dre from the World Class Wrecking Crew, Dr. Dre, the great Dr. Dre, the Beats guy, the great Dr. Dre who brought on NWA, the great Dr. Dre, you know, and Aftermath Entertainment, the great Dr. Dre, the greatest hip-hop gangster rap producer, street producer ever created by the omnipotent one. Dr. Dre, when he was with the World Class Wrecking Crew, he was just a DJ. And Dr. Dre used to wear rouge and a little bit of lipstick, glossy lipstick and some rouge. And they used to wear these spandex pants because that's what the World Class Wrecking Crew did. They all had spandex on and they wore some makeup here, a little bit of lip gloss. A lot of people say, no, Jesse, that's not true. Not Dr. Dre. No, that can't be true. The Dre man? No, he's a gangster. No, he was never a gangster. He wasn't a gangster. He came up in a middle-class American family here. Yeah, he was never a gangster. He was raised in a middle-class American family. In fact, he was on the Art Linkletter show when he was like 5 or 6 years old. And you remember, you probably don't remember, but Art Linkletter was a TV host, and he was one of the wealthiest guys on TV. He was one of the big-time daytime TV hosts. It was called the Art Linkletter show. He was Walt Disney's very favorite friend. There's a story behind that. But Dr. Dre was on Art Linkletter's show when he was like 5 or 6 years old, dressed in a nice suit and yes, looking just all proper and prim and perfect. And because Art Linkletter used to love to interview children on TV, he had a segment in his show, something about the kids and the children and the parents. And it was just lovable. It was really adorable little sequence he did there. And he was really well known for that, the Art Linkletter show. And saying hi to Noelle Martin. Hey, thanks a lot, Noelle. Thanks a lot. She's coming in from the East Coast. The East Coast, where it's 8:14 on the East Coast right now. Anyhow, he was just a little kid, and he got interviewed by Art Linkletter, and you can see that if you search around enough on the internet and YouTube, you can catch that little video. It's probably about 4 minutes, and it's really cute. So you see, Dr. Dre was in the entertainment industry right from the time he was basically born. He was not just Johnny come lately here. So, and he wasn't a gangster anyway. But he was with the World Class Wrecking Crew. Then he left them, and then NWA happened a few years after that. Now, the real gangster of all of them, the real deal gangster, I'm not talking about Ice Cube, no, and I'm not talking about Yella. I'm not talking about none of those guys. The real gangster of them was Eazy-E. He was a bona fide, straight-up gangster. He was gangster from the time he was born. That's how he financed his whole first record, by the money he earned on the streets. And Suge Knight was a thug gangster. Suge Knight was muscle for Eazy-E. In fact, he was his bodyguard. So these two cats were real nefarious gangsters. One is dead and one is jail. What does that tell you? Interesting. Dre was not. And he's a billionaire. So what does that tell you? There is a lesson in there somewhere. Only the way Jesse T can bring it. Thinking out of the box, because you're in my world now, according to Torero. So in this book, that's more important than gold or silver or oil or anything that you can imagine. The number one thing you have to have, and I never quite thought about it this way, though I have it. I said it the French kind of way, right? Reynard, Rey, Rochelle. Reynard, La, Rochelle. Or is it Spanish? It might be Spanish. It might be Reynald La Rochelle. I don't know. But it's a pretty name. I like the initials, RLR. That's got music to it. Hey, Tracy, what's the name of the book? It's called America 2050. America 2050 Survival Blueprint. It's a great book. You got to get. That's what I thought, Reynard. I thought it was French. Parlez-vous français? That's about all the French I can do. I can do some French kissing. I can do some French eating. I can do some French fries. I can do some Frenchy. But I can't speak that much French. But my daughter can. She can speak French, write French, spell French, grammar French. She's took that in school. That was part of her second major. Anyhow, America 2050 by Porter Stansberry. America 2050 by Porter Stansberry. It's really an easy read. It's an easy read, and it gives you a plan so that you and your family can survive what's going to happen. It's coming. As God is my witness, it's coming. We're going to have a major thing happening. I hope that you guys are prepared. I learned a lesson a long time ago from my dad, and the lesson was really simply this: it's better to have and not have to use it than to have to use it and not have it. Right? So it's better to be prepared for the worst and never have to use it. And everybody laughs at you and says you're a nutcase because you listen to Jesse T in the Jesse T show, and he's way out there sometimes. But nothing's ever going to happen. Sure. Then when you need it and you don't have it, because when you need it and you don't have it, and you come knocking at my door and you need it and you don't have it, and there's a lot of you guys that need it and don't have it, don't knock at my door. That will not be a good surprise for you, okay? Because there's not enough to go around. Just see how fast those stores get looted when you see all those people looting stores and burning their towns to the ground this last year. Those huge, giant super Walmart stores get looted and vacated so fast. And they say that there's only 3 days of food in the warehouses around America. That's it. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Hey, thanks, buddy. All right, good to have you along with us. All right, let's get into this topic about homeless right now. We have gotten hit really hard in Los Angeles with homeless people. Now, I'm going to give you a perspective here. When I was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, we moved from Chicago here when I was a youngster. So I'm basically a Southern California boy with Chicago roots. I can't help but have those roots. I've been back to Chicago more times than you can think about it. I've been back there an awful lot. But the point is, when I was growing up in my neighborhood, there was one guy, we called him Hobo Joe. And Hobo Joe was this fella, and nobody knew where he came from. Nobody knew who he really was, but he was around the neighborhood for as long as anybody could ever know. And he was an older man when we were just kids. And And he lived under the bridge on the road goes over this wash area by a place called Handsome Dam and under the railroad tracks. And that was kind of his house. And he built like a stick house there. And that was Hobo Joe. And Hobo Joe was a good guy. Everybody helped out Hobo Joe. Everybody gave him food. Everybody, gave him some money when he needed it. He always got attention. He wasn't a bad guy. Everybody knew him. The parents knew him, even though they said the kids stay away from him. But he wasn't a bad guy. He was a good guy. He was just Hobo Joe, and that's what we called him. We never knew his name was. We just what we called him. And on the way to where we would go and play Army and Cowboys and Indians and shoot our BB guns and our pellet guns right here in the city of Los Angeles. Really, honestly, here in the city, those places are gone now, but they were there when I was growing up. And so we would go there and stop off at Hobo Joe's house and hang out and, just hang out with him and then go on about our way. And, of course, this isn't the summertime when we had time off. All the other times we were in school because there was no not going to school when I was growing up. Dad and Mom didn't allow that. No, sirree. And there was also no fighting the teachers and the principal, and there was also no disrespect to our elders and our wise ones and authority figures. And we also respected the American flag and respected the national anthem. No matter how we felt about it, we respected it. Just like those guys in the 72 Olympics, the three gentlemen who stood up on stage with the fist up like this, that famous picture, the fist and their heads were down like that, those guys, what people don't know is they didn't raise their hand in protest. That they were Black Panthers kind of protest. They didn't raise their hand in protest till after the national anthem played. And after the national anthem played, all three of them simultaneously raised their hand and put their head in protest and stood there and made a point. And that point has lasted for time immortal. It has lasted forever. It's one of the most famous pictures to come out of any Olympics, that protest that they were protesting. And that's the way you protest. It really melted into the hearts and minds and the passions of the American public and led to us getting out of Vietnam and more civil rights and all that good stuff happened because these three men had the guts to protest, but protest the respectful way. Respect gets everything. Honor gets everything. Moral and ethic, fortitude, and honesty gets everything. A happy heart gets everything. You aren't that, you get nothing. Okay, so Hobo Joe. That was a hobo. That was a homeless guy. And he was on the streets as long as I could remember, and he finally did pass away. And I was well into my late 20s. He had been around. He was the only guy. Okay. Then what happened here is under Reagan, in my part of the San Fernando Valley, under Reagan, what happened is he stopped the federal funding for psychiatric care. Psychiatric care, not the hospitals that very dangerous psychopaths go to, but psychiatric care where people could go, stay a few days, 2 or 3 days, get some help, maybe get some tools, get some focus and some direction. Reagan pulled the funding on that psychiatric care in trying to balance the budget and turn our country around. And when that happened, in my neighborhood, all those people in our part of the San Fernando Valley that were in these psychiatric care institutions, they weren't really halfway houses, I guess you could call them. They hit the streets. They nowhere else to go. All right. So that was sort of the homeless problem up until at the end of the 1980s. The 1990s flew around and the middle class started getting really attacked and destroyed with loss of jobs and manufacturing jobs and benefits. The middle class was targeted with higher taxes. The middle class was targeted to pay for more and more social service programs that the government instituted under the Clinton first presidency. His budget and government went up, though he was able to balance the budget, no doubt about that. But he balanced the budget because what people complain about, which was triple down economics or supply side economics, they complained that that didn't work. It only worked for the people at the top. Sorry. When you go from a 400 ship Navy to a 600 ship Navy, that means every defense contractor is making money nationwide. And that's one of the things that Reagan did. He put hundreds, if not millions, of people back to work over his tenure and thereafter when he left. Also, what happened during that time was the American dollar against the world dollar was very, very strong. The world was going into a recession and America was not, so there was more jobs. China had not really come onto the scene yet as a manufacturing might because the corporations hadn't moved over there in full force like they did then mid through 90s and into the 2000s. They left this country like a ghost town. So what happened in the 90s was the dot-com blow up. And with that, a lot of companies left and the taxes were going up. Under the Bush administration, Bush 1, remember when he said no new taxes, and he taxed the heck out of everybody. I mean, and Clinton lowered the bar because everybody needed to have a house. You see, it was everybody's right in America just because you were born that you should have a house to live in. So what they did is they forced Fannie and Freddie Mac, who buy houses in the secondary mortgage market, and that's how the banks make money. They buy their paper, give the banks money, the banks lend money out, and that's what happens. Well, they lowered the parameters. In other words, instead of having a 23 to 35% debt to loan ratio a person could have, or debt to income ratio a person could have prior to Clinton, they raised it all the way up to 52%. So what you've got here is you've got a whole bunch of people who really couldn't afford that house because they're taxing over 52% of their budget to pay just the mortgage payment, not the taxes and insurance and food and water and car insurance. And when pensions were lost in the 1990s, their own health insurance. So you see, the corporations really got together and really targeted the middle class tremendously through government corruption and corporate corruption as well, and leaving the country. So this created a big jobless community. And homelessness picked up a little bit. Then what happened in the 2000s, we had a little bit of an economic burst under Bush 2. And gee whiz, I wonder why we had a little bit of an economic burst under Bush 2, who inherited the dot-com explosion of the end of the 1990s. Well, that's because we went to war. 10 years of war. Once again, the largest employer and the fastest way a country gets themselves out of hock, historically from the Civil War on, has been to go to war, to have battles, because things have to be replaced and repaired and built. You don't have an endless amount of bullets and bandages. In fact, you should be buying lots of B&B. Bullets and bandages. You should be buying those things as much as you can, in my opinion. So, nevertheless, here we go. So now we have a burst, and we have a fabricated enemy that was created and fabricated by the Bush administration, along with the Democrats and the Republicans, because they've been in cahoots since the end of Reagan. Easily, that can be shown by just their tendencies and how they govern and how they legislate. And so we have more homelessness because now you have recurring veterans that are coming back home, and we don't have the military backup to support these veterans coming home because we've taken that apart since the end of Vietnam. All right. So you have guys hitting the street and gals too. Now you have an explosion of a major, major recession in 2008. It was really not a recession, guys. It was a depression. And so you have this depression that really took place and decimated housing in this country. And so goes housing, so goes the country. America was built, the America that you and I know, not the America that Thomas Jefferson knew, not the America that the second president of the United States, John Adams, knew, not the America that the President Buchanan, the president right before Abraham Lincoln, knew. We're talking about the America that we know in our lifetimes. Certainly by the end of World War II, from that point on, America's middle class was based on three things. One was the manufacturing might to repair and replace and fix the world that we destroyed in World War II. And we did a really good job. And we replaced all those incomes with something that you're going to learn here. I'm going to teach you. It's called the International Monetary Currency Reserve. International Monetary Currency Reserve. Basically, in a nutshell, it's very complicated, but I'll say it to you really quickly. All products, goods, and services and supplies that are transferred and done, and business that's done between countries on the international level are done using the American greenback, the dollar bill. All of them. All of them. Now, before World War II, it was the English pound was the International Monetary Currency Reserve. And before England, it was the Spanish dragoon, which was the International Monetary Currency Reserve. See, every conquering nation that conquers the world and becomes an empire, and we're just another empire. That's what we are. We're the best empire the world's ever seen. We have the best human rights the world's ever seen. We have the best civil actions the world's ever seen. We are the best the world has ever seen. Believe me. Slavery is not something that started in the plantations. Slavery started 10,000 years ago when the first decided to go and attack the tribe over there with the EEEs, and the oohs beat the EEEs, and oohs killed all of the EEE men and took all the oohs took all the EEE ladies and girls, so the oohs could propagate and have more oohs than the EEEs could ever have. Slavery is nothing new. Repression of people is nothing new. And America has done the best to try to solve itself of that. You've got to understand that so that we can move forward and do better. All right, so what you have here is you have a system that was created to destroy and go after and target the middle class. And they've done a really good job. Because when they lowered the threshold of home ownership, in other words, anybody could buy a home. That was the Clinton doctrine. Henry Cisneros, Harry Dean, Howard Dean, Dick Schumer, Barney Frank, all social communist idiots. These guys destroyed America's housing and loans. But that was kind of designed because the crash of 2008, they couldn't tax it anymore. I mean, if you can buy a house with nothing down and you have nothing in it, then it's easy to walk away from it. But if you have $50,000 of your own money in it, it's harder to walk away. When you get something for nothing, it's easy to walk away from that something you got because you got nothing in it. When you get something for something, it's harder to walk away because you got something in it, and that something becomes very important to you. It's just a human nature thing. So, increased joblessness creates massive homelessness. They extended the unemployment benefits I mean, some people could get almost 3 years of unemployment benefits. They extended and extended and extended it. And when those people ran out, that's it. No more jobs for them and no more money. Simple. Loss of house, loss of family, loss of love, loss of money, loss of dignity, can't afford to live anywhere, and on the street they went. In mass amount of numbers across the country, and the returning soldiers that didn't have the benefits because the VA under the Bush administration and the Obama administration, more importantly, has done such a terrible, disgusting job helping our veterans who've given their life, limb, blood, and guts for us Americans to stand at the national anthem at least, so that we could have a country of liberty, which freedom comes out of. And by the way, that's been going on since the Barbary Coast. Jefferson, the third president of the United States, the French Revolution took place in the third presidency of the United States. France blew up, the monarchy and kings got their heads chopped off at the guillotine. The aristocratic family was destroyed. The peasants raised an order and attacked their government, threw them out, okay? And when that happened, also, what took place is the Barbary Coast, which is Tripoli, from the halls of Montezuma to the lands of Tripoli, right? Tripoli is Algeria, Tunis, and Libya, the northern coast of the Mediterranean of Africa. That's where that's at. The Barbary Coast, the pirates were attacking our ships as we became more of a world power. We were trying to exercise, and they were attacking our pirate ships, and they were enslaving our sailors and selling them off in a slave trade. Oh, wait a second. Did I say slave trade? Oh, no way. Africans selling Africans in the slave trade? Can't possibly be. It can't possibly be. Absolutely not. No. That is something that can't. You know, the greatest slave trade of all time is Africans selling Africans in the slave trade in Africa. Yeah. They turned on their own people when the Dutch, Portuguese, and English, French, and Germans came down into the continent of Africa. The tribes would turn on their enemy tribes and turn them over to the slave traders for money, because then they would get their land and their power and exercise their empires. Slave trading at its finest. So, at least Abraham Lincoln, one of the greatest presidents this world has ever seen, put together the Emancipation Proclamation, and he ended slavery in America. Now, it continued on, Jim Crow laws and all that, because, oh, by the way, guys, that was the Democrats. Oh, you didn't know that. The Democrats were the ones that created Jim Crow, and we know what Jim Crow was. Because when the Civil War ended, the South just didn't want to give up being the South. Sorry, they couldn't do it. So what they did is they couldn't fight the federal troops, the Union troops that would go down there, because Abraham Lincoln sent them down there to protect the freed American black folks. But they couldn't protect them all. So that's when the KKK started. Oh, by the way, the KKK was started by the Democratic National Party. Wow. And the Democrats created Jim Crow because they wanted to continue their lifestyle and quality of life. The Democrats were horrible to black folks, African Americans, after the Civil War. Horrible. The carpetbaggers, All that. So many folks moved north. So, at least Abraham Lincoln did his best to stop it. And he died for that, guys. He died for that, amongst other reasons, which were economic. But that was one of the reasons why they offed him. The guard that was standing at Ford's Theater wasn't even there. There was no guard guarding the president. Come on. Come on. Really? 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 Okay. So now we flash forward here to 2008, where now all of a sudden, a lot of folks lose everything. The middle class is completely attacked. The middle class has been destroyed, like Michael Moore said in an interview that you saw on our show, the Jesse T Show yesterday. The middle class has been destroyed, completely attacked. And it's continuing to be shot at and put down. And they don't care what class of people you are, whether you're elite, whether you're brown, white, black, whether you're Israeli, whether you're from Nigeria, or whether you're from anywhere. They don't care. All right, so let's go to the homeless issue. This is some of the reasons why we have massive homelessness in this country, nationwide now. All of this has converged into 2016. And there was an article that was in the LA Times today that I wanted to talk about, where homelessness rears its head again in LA's fight against homelessness. It's called NIMBYism, NIMBYism. That's like, not in my neighborhood, please. That's what that means, basically. And this article talks about some stuff here about HHH, Amendment HHH, which I'm totally against, okay? We can't keep throwing money at something that's not the root of the problem. The root of the problem is there's no jobs, there's no work, there's no manufacturing jobs. And you have three types of homeless people. How do I know this? Because I work in the homeless arena. The Coalition Against Human Trafficking, fighting human traffickers who pimp out and take and rape and kidnap little boys and girls. Cindy Sauer and I have been after that for over 30 years. Me, 10, her, 20. And we put it down in one area of the San Fernando Valley. Yeah, we won, but it's a never-ending vigil, and we're expanding out. But with that comes homelessness. That bumps right into the problem. Because so many of these young boys and girls out there on the streets, like in Hollywood Boulevard, I wouldn't go down to Hollywood anymore if you gave me an armored tank. People are getting murdered and killed and raped and robbed down on Hollywood Boulevard. It's the worst place to go. Homeless people everywhere, urine. Oh, it's terrible. This is terrible, okay? And there are so many communities that are like that. See, you have three types of homeless people, all right? And they're kind of, every year we do something called Count the Homeless. Across America, our neighborhood city council, the Sun Valley Neighborhood City Council, which I'm a part of, we have to participate in something that's called Count the Homeless. Okay, every community in America does it. That's how they get a kind of a count on the homeless. There's 28,000 people that are homeless here in Los Angeles. Okay, 20,000. But in actuality, there's more than that, because there's people you can't find. All right. So, how do I know this? Because I've done it. And here you go. The issue is there's three types of homelessness. The professionals that are out there with us, the PhDs and the doctorates and all the social workers and all the people that know this stuff better than I do, this is what they tell us. This is what they teach us. There's three types of homelessness. There's the homeless people who are just gone. They're impaired in some way. They're impaired in some way, either psychologically due to drugs, alcohol, that type of ism, okay? They're impaired some way due to a physical defect, physical health that's affecting their mental and their understanding. They're impaired to the fact that they're not really going to ever get off the street. They're just not going to ever get off the street, period. Then you have a group that gets thrown on the street and wants to get off the street, and they do everything that they possibly can to get off the street. They do everything they possibly can. They take the meetings, they work with a social worker, they do everything. They work on their resumes, they work on getting a job, they work on supporting, they do everything they can to get off the street. And they're usually off the street within a couple of years, okay, from the time that they get on, okay? And then there's the big group, the big piece of the pie in the middle. And the big piece of the pie in the middle is the group that likes being on the street. Like my buddy, when I was growing up, Hobo Joe. He liked living on the street. He lived his whole life on the street, under the railroad tracks. He liked it. That's what he did. He never wanted to leave it. Okay? So here's the point. There's a whole big slice of the pie that likes being on the street. And you ask me why? No taxes, don't have to pay for health care, don't have to pay for food, don't have to pay for transportation, don't have to pay for clean clothes, don't have to pay for a shower, don't have to pay for medicine, don't have to pay for shelter, don't have to pay for, let me see, what else? Gasoline, don't have to pay insurance, don't have to pay for a cell phone because it's free under the Obama plan, don't have to pay, oh, and they get internet too. Yeah, it's really cool. You ought to get one. Well, you can. Don't have to pay for haircuts. Don't have to pay for being somewhere when it's cold or too hot. They don't have to pay for anything. They rummage through stuff and they sell it and recycle, right? They panhandle on the street and ask for some money, right? Well, there were studies that show that these people are making somewhere in upwards $45,000 to $65,000. Yeah, that's what it would cost you and I to replace their lifestyle. $45,000 to $65,000 a year. Now, excuse me, guys, how many people are making $45,000 to $65,000 a year? The average income for the man and woman working family of four, a man and woman and two kids, is $57,500 right now in America, across the country, from sea to shining sea. And you're working 40, 60, 80, 90 hours. Both of you are. Because we don't have any jobs anymore. Because manufacturing is gone. Because the economy is taking it away. Because they can get slave labor in Indonesia. They can get slave labor in Mexico. They can get slave labor in China. They can get slave labor. And any good businessman is going to go over there and make his ties for 10 cents and sell them for $10. Because they can. Because they can. You would too. Don't you think you wouldn't? Please. Let's be honest. Let's not be hypocrites. Because our country's allowed that to happen. Because we, the citizens, have allowed that to happen. Because we've been lulled to sleep with big screen TVs and big fat bellies. We've been lulled to sleep with terrible food and poor water. We've been lulled to sleep to think that because we got an Escalade, because we got a Lexus, because we got a Chevy, because we got a new VW outside, it's okay, but our kids don't have tennis shoes. We've been lulled to sleep to take some drugs, to smoke some J, to do some heroin. We've been lulled to sleep over 50 years with illegal immigration as well. We got lots of homelessness, and the big group of them don't want to leave. And so I've been out there. They roll out the big shower trucks. I mean, these are big 18-wheel trucks, like with a dozen showers on each side, right? Oh, they're in there showering. They get toiletries, toothpaste. They get toilet paper. They get a towel, clean towel. And it's hot too. It's a hot towel, baby, like at a spa. And then what happens? They get all the counseling. All the counselors are there, the social services, the networkers. They help them get off the street into housing and all this stuff, right? They take whatever they can get free here, free tickets, free coupons, free food, free this, free that, free this. On this date, they get all this stuff. And then 2 weeks later, you see them back on the street. Yeah. Let's not even talk about the violence that happens. The raping and the violence and the urination and the defecation and the trash that these people create. There are whole villages, towns within communities in this city of Los Angeles. There's an RV village. There's under the freeways in Panorama City and Nordhoff. There's all kinds of places, and they're talking about in this article in the LA Times that we need to provide homeless housing. Dudes, let me tell you about homeless housing. Let me tell you about homeless housing. And I got pissed because they took away the Sun Valley Car Wash that I'd gone to ever since I was 6 years old. They built a housing unit. It cost somewhere, billions of dollars, right? And this housing is a 1,500 square foot apartment that these homeless people get living for free with brand new stoves and new air conditioners and the built-in big screen TVs and security. And it's a beautiful place, man. It's better than I could freaking afford. And they live there for free. Yeah, homeless housing. And that's what HHH. Oh, let's feel sorry for them and give them housing. No, why should they have a better house than you when you struggle every single day trying to put 2 quarters together? That's not right. That's not fair. NIMBY, you darn right. I don't want it in my neighborhood. But we got to do something about it because it's not these people's fault. But yet the 80% in the middle, they want to stay on the street. God bless them. For whatever reasons, they like it. Hey, I would like it too if I didn't have a wife and kids or anything. Why not live on the freaking street? I don't have to worry about anything. I can get free everything. I can even get sex. Putting people in housing and building housing at the taxpayers' expense is not the way to go. Taking more money out of our pockets. You and I are going to be on the freaking streets. They take so much money in the state of California, it's unbelievable. We're going to be on the streets. That's not the way to go. These people have a problem. First, we have to isolate the ones that want to go. We get them off the street. And how do we get them off the street? We provide good quality jobs where somebody can have a life and have a quality of life. And how do we provide good quality jobs? Just like Donald Trump said, we put a 35% tariff on any car manufacturer makes his car out of the country and doesn't make it in good old USA and America. Americans will pay more for that car here if they know they're going to pay more if that car comes in from somewhere else. And those European and those Asian and those foreign cars, we tariff them too. Let me tell you what's going to happen. They want 370 million Americans money. They're coming back. We put together good jobs so we don't have to go to a war. So we don't have to have a military incursion around the planet again. We build our military up. That's good jobs. We change our education. We bring God back into the education. We bring respect and honor. That's good jobs. We stop this Common Core crap. Then we help the ones that are probably never going to get off the street because they're impaired. We take that group and we try to find some place for those people to live because they frankly don't know what they're doing. They frankly are gone. And we have to do something for those souls. But the ones in the middle that want to stay there, let's leave them there. Let me tell you something, what's going to happen. The ones that want to stay there aren't going to want to stay there. You know why? Because if they have a good job, about half of them are going to go get a good job. They're going to get a good job because no matter the bottom line, people want to feel good about what they're doing every day in their life. They want a job. They want to be able to know that they can make some money and support their families. It's not just for themselves. They want something out of their lives. And the ones in the middle still are sane, the ones in the middle. And then there's going to be the ones that just will never get off the street. That's how we solve our homeless problem. That's just a start. But we don't go build more housing and tax the taxpayer more money. This is why Donald Trump's plan of jobs and work and jobs and work and jobs and work, that's how we got out of the last depression, except it was called World War II. We put 6 million people back to work real fast. 190 million people in this country were a war effort. The depression ended real fast. The alphabet soup of FDR wasn't working. Okay, so we don't want that to happen because we don't want our boys and girls to go over there and die. And die for what? Die for some corporate aristocracy who wants to build more napalm? I mean, are you kidding me? Really? No, we don't want that. These fabricated wars and these liars, we found out this year how corrupt the whole system is. And this is why they hate Donald Trump. They hate Donald Trump because he's bucking the system. He's calling them out. He's in the ground out there standing in the street with his 6-gun and he's saying, I'm here, I'm facing you. It stops on my watch. I don't care what you think about me. I don't care what you say about me. I don't care about anything. I know one thing for sure is that you're corrupt, you're a liar, you're a cheater, you're a son of a bitch, and you're a rat bastard, both Republicans and Democrats, and that's the way it's going to be. And I'm not going to call for it anymore. And I got the money to back my butt up, and no one can buy my soul. And that's the bottom line. The American people want work. The middle class wants to be a middle class again. And if we have money in this country for the middle class, then we can do everything we want to do. You ain't got no money, honey, baby. You ain't got no love. You can't do nothing for nobody else until you take care of yourself first. And the middle class has to be taken care of, because if not for the middle class in this country, this world would be a freaky, weird, hell of a place to live. It was the middle class that made the earth peaceful like it has been since the end of World War II, respectively. See, it's the middle class. It's the American back, the hard worker, my mom, my dad, your dad, your grandma, and your grandpa, who slaved every day and worked hard, but they knew that they could get an education for their kids. They knew they could live in a safe neighborhood. They knew that the police would be there. They knew we've lost all of our ideas about commonality and respect and honor. And why? Because nobody has any jobs. And when you're worried about finding water and food and a place to sleep so you don't get wet in the cold rain and freeze in the snow, you can't worry about nothing else. And it's the jobs. That's how they destroyed the middle class for the last 40 years in this country. It's about time that somebody stands up and takes it back, and he wants to take it back. And that's why Michael Moore, a devout left-wing liberal, so off the chart left-wing for the last 30 years, to hear him say he's voting for Trump because he understands why the people want him back. Because without a middle class, ladies and gentlemen, we have no country. This country will fail. It will fail. And when this country fails, so goes America, so goes the planet Earth, so goes liberty, so goes freedom, and tyranny will run amok. You think Nazism, you think Stalinism, you think Maoism, you think the Cambodian, you think the Boca Raton, you think ISIS, you think any of this is bad? You ain't seen nothing bad once liberty and freedom are gone and tyranny runs amok, and we destroy our Constitution and our republic, and we destroy the amendments, and this country goes down, because it's going to go down, and it's going down right now, faster than every one of you think and I think. It's going down. They're attacking it left and right because the greedy rat bastards, all they care about is themselves and their amorous. Oh, they'll survive. They'll go get the seeds from the Norway underground seed bank. Oh, they'll survive. They'll go to New Zealand. Oh, they'll survive. They'll launch themselves to the moon or Mars when they can. They'll survive. They'll go deep underground military bases at 3,000 to 4,000 feet deep. Oh, they'll survive. But you and I will be destroyed. The middle class, that's how they're going to do it. Why? Because there's too many people on the planet Earth that they have to worry about. That's the bottom line. It's called the depopulation. That's why I can't stand Bill Gates. He's the head of the depopulation. His father, Planned Parenthood. That's depopulation. Thank you very much. You don't cut a baby out of the womb at 8 or 9 months. I don't care what anybody says. You don't do it. That's killing the middle class. That's killing a life. I don't care what you say. It doesn't make any difference to me. You don't do it. Put the baby up for adoption. I know lots of parents who are adopted kids. This is what it's all about. We got jobs. We got the homeless problem solved. We, the middle class, black, white, brown, Asian, indigenous Americans, we, educated, not educated, tall, skinny, fat, old, beautiful, ugly, smart, stupid, dumb, brown hair, yellow hair, green hair, blink hair, metal in the face, tattoos, bikers, businessmen, businesswomen, it doesn't matter. We can solve it, but you take us out, it won't be solved. That's how you solve homelessness. The book, America 2015, the survival blueprint, right here. The number one thing you need to do, it's not gold, it's not silver. It's not any of that. It's getting yourself a piece of land. Because if you don't have any food, you die. Gold and silver, you'll run out of. Growing on the land, you won't. And get a piece of land with water. In 3 days, if you don't have water, you will die. That's what this book says. Just get something, even if it's 2,000 square feet, so you can grow some food and get some water. The Jesse T Show, live at 5, Monday through Friday, right here. Solving the problems of the day. The Jesse T way. You're in the world according to Torero. I call it as I see it. You may not like it? Too bad. Monday through Friday, 5 to 6. The Brown Beauty is always on duty, and we're letting it go today. You have a great Thursday in Southern California and around the world. Hey, you're straight on the point. See ya! The Brown Beauty's off duty. Bye!